Please be advised, the following roundtable discussion was recorded prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and mandate for social distancing.
Hi everybody, this is Master Sergeant Carrie Sparrow from the 102nd Intelligence Wing Public Affairs Office. Today's podcast, we have the Sexual Assault Prevention and Response Team. And around the room today, we have Miss Jackie Tellier, who is our Wing SARC. We have the Wing Commander, Colonel David McNulty, a Victim Advocate, Master Sergeant Deb Hasley, the 102nd Mission Support Group, First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Salaam Harris, and the Assistant SARC, Captain David Shepard. Welcome, everybody.
Thanks so much. And thanks, everyone, for being here today. I really appreciate your time and your effort on this one. So first, I guess I'm going to introduce myself a little bit more, tell you a little bit about myself, and then have each of you tell your stories, and then we'll talk a little bit more about SAPR. As I was introduced, I'm the SAPR, the Sexual Assault Response Coordinator for the 102nd Wing, and I am here after several years on the outside of the National Guard at the Coast Guard, and then I came over here in October of 18. Really happy to be working with the group of folks that I'm working with. I get a lot of support from the command, and I get a lot more, even more support from the victim advocates that are all voluntary. And so that's from there. Colonel McNulty.
I'm Colonel Dave McNulty, Commander of the 102nd Intelligence Wing, and happy to be part of this today. I'm viewing this as a commander when it comes to protecting our airmen and taking care of our airmen, and the incidents of sexual assault, especially as they impact our ability to conduct our missions.
I'm Master Sergeant Hasley. I'm a volunteer victim advocate. One of the reasons I volunteered for this position is because I feel it's a very important role to be able to provide the service to our airmen and wing members. Coming from a background of having, on a personal level, dealing with sexual assault and not having the support there, I know it's very important, so I want to make sure I could give back that service to people who need it.
Hello, I'm Master Sergeant Salaam Harris. I'm the Mission Support Group First Sergeant. I'm giving my perspective from the First Sergeant's view and making sure that we ensure our core values are still in place and make sure that our airmen are feel safe and feel comfortable when they come into the base.
I'm Captain Dave Shepard. I'm the Alt SARC for the 102nd Intelligence Wing. One of the reasons that I volunteered initially to be a victim advocate and then volunteered to be the base Alt SARC stems from the Me Too movement that began a couple years ago. I enlisted in the military back in 2007, and the number of friends that I made from that point up into the start of Me Too had posted after the beginning of that movement, and to see how many female colleagues, coworkers, airmen that I knew had posted about sexual assault that they experienced either in the civilian world or the military world really crystallized my intent to try to provide support. And I would encourage anybody who wants to find out more about sexual assault in the military to watch the documentary The Invisible War and not feel motivated to help others.
Well, thanks so much. So at first, I guess I want to kind of hear from Colonel McNulty on his determination to make sure that this program runs. You have a lot of priorities within the wing, and you have this budget that certain priorities that you have to do. And how do you determine how much effort or how much money is going to go into the SAPR program, and why is that?
Yeah, so you're correct in that there are a myriad of priorities, and but this one, it's just critically important, right? Because beyond budgets or anything else, if you have sexual assaults in your ranks and you've got a culture where people can't report, then you have an underlying issue, an undermining of trust And without that, you can't field the team, you can't accomplish the mission. So it really wouldn't matter. Some of these other priorities, we could be doing a great job with them. But if you have this, silent part of the force that's going through these crushing issues, it's going to impact our ability to get anything done. So I think this is a critically important program. Certainly happy, since you've shown up here a little over a year ago, to really take a program that had been a little bit neglected and add a lot more life into it and inspire several victim advocates to come forward. Certainly I'm thankful for them. We ask so much already of our airmen and our civilian airmen to ask them to volunteer for something yet again over and above their day-to-day commitments of training and being ready to fight. It's truly incredible and inspiring to see them come forward and want to help.
Yeah, that's really a challenge to get the people to really want to volunteer sometimes. But this wing, so far, I have 6 certified victim advocates. I've got an alt SARC. I've got another victim advocate who transferred into the area who's getting recertified, and I got another one in the wings, just being initially certified. So it's really I love the support that we have for the whole wing. Deb, tell me a little bit more about how did you decide that it's a lot of time and effort? You put a lot into it. You go to training. Maybe talk about that, what you do to become certified to begin with.
Well, there was a whole week of training that we were involved with. And there's a lot of going through like the different scenarios. It was very emotional, and we talk a lot about self-care and making sure we're okay as we go through this. So that was a lot for me personally, but I felt that it was a very important program. The training is important. I was able to go to a NOVA conference and get a lot of my earned credits toward my recertification, so I thought that was a great opportunity and encourage other victim advocates. They're able to do that to be able to go as well. Mm-hmm. I just eat up any training that you're able to provide to be a better victim advocate. And it is a lot of time, a lot of effort to go through, but well worth it. And I wouldn't do it any other way.
And you mentioned NOVA, which is the National Organization of Victim Advocates.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I follow them along on Facebook, social media. Mm-hmm. I listen to several speakers that you introduced me to and follow them. And I just eat up any training I can get to better help.
And you're certified through that
Yes.
program too,
Yes.
as well. So, and you have to keep, like you mentioned, the continuing education
Yes.
credits that we have to continue to get, so we can
At least 32 a year to get that recertification.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. So we have this really great program as far as I see, and what I'm hearing around the table here. So what do you look forward to seeing in the program? Do you have any visions on how you want to see this kind of evolve from a victim advocate's perspective?
I just want to make sure all the wing airmen know that we're here for them. I feel like a lot of, piggybacking on what Colonel McNulty said, that there's that Paul not reporting, and not sure if it's because they don't trust the confidentiality or whatnot, but just get it out there, get them to understand us, get them to trust us, and know that they should not be afraid to report, that we're here for them, that we're going to help them with resources, and just somehow spreading that word that we are here for them, and they shouldn't be afraid.
Okay.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
So this is Salaam Harris. So I just wanted to add to that because I like what you said, Deb, but I also feel like the victim advocates, to gain that trust of the airmen, they're going to have to get out there and get to know them a little bit better. It's no different from say the first sergeants. We go out there and we talk to the troops, so we get that that feel that pulse of our troops and our members, and we gain that trust. So if there is an issue, they will come out and tell us and report that to us. But the same applies to the victim advocates. They need to also get out there and get to know those people, because if they want them to feel comfortable to report it, they're not going to do it if they don't know you, they don't trust you.
And just as we have a first sergeant in every squadron, in a perfect world, you'd have enough VVAs that
Absolutely.
they wouldn't be a stranger, right? They'd be somebody that's in your unit that you get to talk to, you interact with, and consequently you get a VVA who understands unique cultures. We have a very diverse wing with a lot of different mission sets, and what works for interacting with somebody from CEIG who's doing a lot of deployments overseas might not work for somebody who's working overnight shifts in the DGS mission.
Absolutely.
Can I?
Yeah.
So this can be edited out if it's inappropriate for your question. But the way that I see the SARC program for the base over a long term, maybe a strategic plan, is accessibility is key. I think that with this generation, there are different ways that they would like to communicate that maybe the current program or format doesn't encapsulate. And again, this part can be, I don't know if it's appropriate for the forum, but for example, the Squadron Innovation Funds, I think what would be important for some of these airmen to see is that the SARC office has its own mission on the base. It's not just the DGS fighting that fight, or it's not just the cyber group fighting their fight, or the CEIG fighting their fight, but the SARC, they have their own mission and they're fighting their own fight against sexual assault. And if we were able to tap into the Wing Innovation Funds, we could potentially create an opportunity for airmen to anonymously communicate back and forth with the SARC through the website. The applications are out there. It just needs to be applied to the SARC's webpage, and perhaps some funding or some R&D to implement that would be able to tap into a younger generation that maybe feels like they don't have control when their only options are to either have an unrestricted or restricted report, having to see somebody in person. Being able to get information and find resources in a communicative format with the SARC anonymously, I think would be able to make the program a lot more accessible.
And David, can you explain that we do have some bit of anonymous texting available, anonymous emailing, but talk about a little bit more maybe about what your idea is.
So currently, if an airman visited the SARC's webpage through the 102nd Intelligence Wing, they would see that there is a comment box where they can reach out to the base's SARC. Now, the comment box doesn't allow for the SARC to reach back out to that airman or individual unless that airman or individual provides contact information. So while they can make statements or comments or claims, they're not able to get resources if they are looking for more of a discussion on the matter. Currently, my plan is to have on that exact same page an ability for an airman to send a message that is received as a text message or an email by the SARC that the SARC can then reply to. No information from the sender will be disclosed to the SARC, so the SARC will be able to respond to that person's either email or cell phone and receive resources or information that would help them either file a restricted report, an unrestricted report, or seek independent help off base should they need it.
Yeah, and that just happened recently. I got an anonymous email through that system, and I couldn't identify the person, so I had to actually send an email out, wing wide, and just say, if anyone has tried to contact me through the anonymous emailing program, please contact me either by my confidential line, or send me an email, and I can reach out. So there is a challenge with that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Challenge for the current format. I think that looking forward short term, we could probably adapt what is already available in the civilian sector to our mill webpage via the SARC, so that we can have that back and forth communicative tool.
Okay. We can also expand it through the app as well, the current app that we have.
Okay, great. So let's talk a little bit maybe about confidentiality, and that's in line with this. And how much do you think, Salaam, confidentiality and ability to contact means to to an airman. So from their perspective, the confidentiality piece, I mean, that's really
I think that's huge, and I think that's also the reason why, some members are reluctant to reach out, is because they're afraid of that confidentiality, thinking that, how is this going to impact their career if they actually did come forward, or how is, it's going to change their workplace. Are they going to be treated differently? Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important, and we also have to make sure we, over communicate that it is confidential, and that whatever they report, will stay within, that team.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you're trying to instill that trust, and yet when we are doing a good job of maintaining that confidentiality, you literally can't advertise that, right? Yeah. So by telling them that, hey, look, trust us, we already have running cases, and we are maintaining that confidentiality and protecting that information, is not something you can tell. Yeah. But that would be exactly the thing that would build up the trust, that they feel like, okay, I can't come forward, and this isn't going to impact me on the job.
Right, exactly. So, Colonel McNulty, what do you expect out of your commanders?
I expect my commanders to be intimately familiar with the program. I expect them to take it seriously. I give them more than they can handle, right? They've got the responsibility for executing the mission and for managing their resources and leading their people, but they have to, first and foremost, they have a sacred trust to take care of the airmen that are in their care for the time that they have command, to ensure that they operate, they can perform their mission, operate whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. So I expect them to be ready to go if and when they get a report, know how to handle the case professionally, compassionately, and first and foremost, ensure that the victim is taken care of and protected.
And also keeping in mind that need to know, that only the people that need to know about the case.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let me see. What do you see as maybe the positives of the program? The positives of this particular Wings SAPR program? Any positives that you want to make note of that?
It's tough, right? We tend to think of this in negative terms, right?
Yeah.
So it's a good question, because the emotions I feel with this program is disappointment and frustration a lot, right? Because we invest a lot of time in the training and talking about bystander intervention, and we seemingly are forever briefing talking points or sending people through training, and yet these still occur. So it's natural to kind of have a negative attitude towards it and be frustrated as we go through it. I think I do, and a lot of people take it personally. I'm a husband and a father of young girls, and an uncle to a bunch of young nephews who are in the demographic that's often a victim. So again, that kind of gives you not necessarily a negative view, but certainly some serious emotions on it. I think if I have to find the positive in this, it's that we have so many people truly willing to step up beyond just our first sergeants, and our chiefs wanted to take this role of taking care of airmen, but VVAs stepping up, having a dedicated SARC and alt SARC that want to do this mission. So I guess that would be the positive, right? That gives me hope that you've got these people involved in it. And while it may seem counterintuitive, more reports to me would be positive, because if you look at the data, these assaults are occurring, right? So seeing the number 0 shouldn't be regarded as a victory. It may mean that there's a lack of trust or something like that. So while it may seem like a counterintuitive stat, having a few more reports that at least is statistically in line with what we know is happening across America would make me feel a little bit better that we had people that were coming out from the shadows and we were actually taking care of them.
Yeah, that's what I always say. It's good to have a 0 number, but then that they're out there, and it's good that you have a report, but then oh God, it hurts because they did get assaulted and they're coming forward, but thank God. So you go back and forth. Thank God they're getting the help, that kind of thing. So anyone else have anything of the positives of the program?
I think we're doing a really great job in getting awareness out there between the different projects that we've been doing. I know we have in April coming up the Teal Flag project, which is going to show awareness. And what we've done is enlisted the help of the student flight in creating these teal flags. And what we're going to do is put it out on the front lawn of the hill of Building 170 and show the flag, each flag representing the number of sexual assaults that have occurred in the past year, or 2018, I believe.
2018.
Across the Air National Guard.
And the Air Force.
And the Air
active
Force in total. So it really brings to light how many are actually happening and show that awareness.
1,808 during fiscal year 2018. The U.S. Air Force and the Air National Guard, that's how many sexual assaults were reported. Now we know that there were probably more sexual assaults that occurred, but at least 1,808 were reported. And so this flag project is going to at least bring awareness to it and say, maybe open some people's eyes and say, oh my God, that many, because when they see it out displayed out on the lawn, maybe that'll help.
And I think
You
that's
know?
a big part is the awareness piece,
Yeah.
and bringing in speakers or whatnot, and having them aware that it is occurring, and what resources again are out there.
We're also going to have a male victimization speaker in June, and we're going to combine that with the annual mandated training for everybody in the wing to attend. So that speaker is going to be pretty dynamic, and that's going to happen during June AT. So that's an exciting thing that's going to happen as well. So how about some of the challenges, or as maybe you'd see as negative parts of the program? Is there anything that we can work on that we haven't talked about already? Anybody have any ideas? Or
I'll start. I think you have to continuously come up with new ways to kind of really to give the information. People get a little bit jaded, and we want to raise the awareness, and we want to make sure people understand how to report, how to get the resources that they need. But I don't want it to turn into kind of the dry annual mandatory training, which just puts up a barrier when you walk in the door because this is the thing I've got to do. So the challenge to find ways like having, a dynamic speaker come in or do things in different ways that truly connects with airmen, because otherwise we lose people. And you see that, if you repeat something even 2 years in a row, people aren't getting as much out of it as they should.
Right. Okay. And that's why I came up with that idea. I mean, I was saying, I got to do something to make it more interesting for people, because if we just run the same old training, people are going to say, oh.
So pretty close answer to what Colonel McNulty just said. Obviously, being in the military, nobody is unfamiliar with the concept of uniformity, so we get training provided from higher headquarters that we need to provide to the large audience here on base. However, what I think would really help, because our community culture location, the fact that we're in the Guard, is so unique, the freedom for us to be able to amend, change, or tag onto the end of the training with something a little more specialized to what we here require is potentially, I think, a positive way forward for the program if we can get the go-ahead to do that.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think, does anyone have anything else that they want to add today? Because I think we're kind of running out of time, but
Sorry.
Anyone else?
One last thing I would just say is we always have to think of how do we reach, that younger generation too. That's key. We do a lot of briefings, and that most time I feel like it's tailored more towards the older generation that's been around for a while, but we have to think of other methods to reach the younger generation that uses that TikTok app, and they listen to podcasts, which I'm great that we're doing a podcast, but we have to think of other methods to make sure we reach out and touch them as well.
And I thought I was doing pretty well with texting.
Well, that is important. I know from I communicate with my daughters primarily in text, even if they're in the next room. So I mean, when we talk about trying to connect with people, what works for the older generation obviously does not work for everyone we're trying to connect with in our ranks today.
Right, exactly. I always say, it's like I'm communicating with a flip phone while they're on an iPhone. So, Anyway, all right. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for your time today. This is and all of your support. I really appreciate that. And let's move on and help our airmen.
All right, thank you, Jackie.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.